Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
Hi, thanks so much for joining in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. My name is Alex Matthew and with me is Mahima Vachrajani, and we will take you through the next 1 hour of trade. The picture is already looking significantly better than it did even about an hour back, where the markets have come off the low point of the day, quite significantly so, that 22,000 mark being defended quite stoically by the bulls. Of course, we broke below that mark at the open, but then we reclaimed it in quite quick fashion, if you can call it that. But the broader markets are where you see most of the recovery take place. In fact, we're trading in the green for the mid-cap index, and the small-cap index also, which was trading with sharp cuts at the start, is now trading with gains of about 0.8%. Some of that capitulation that you've seen in the broader markets being reversed in trade today. Let's see if that continues to hold towards the end of the session as well. What are the sectors that you should watch out for? IT is where the pain continues, and it remains the lowest performer or the worst performer, down about 1%. Of course, at the start it was down close to 2%, but it has recovered from that point. The PSU banking pack about 1.7% higher as the top gainer. SBI, State Bank of India, is doing quite a bit of the heavy lifting there, and certainly something to watch. We'll come back to that in just a bit. But the Nifty Bank, of course, also gaining about 1/3%. It's the financials that have been up and about, and we've been speaking about the Bajaj twins as well and how they've performed over the last month or so. And since the benchmark has fallen quite considerably, this is a pair of counters that has actually bucked the trend and has gained quite considerably in that time frame. It's up about 0.9%, but you see just over the last couple of weeks, the gains have been quite considerable for these two counters. Mahima, what else are you spotting?
Right. So, a couple of counters like Varun Beverages is seeing an up move of around 3% in trade today. And this is after the CLSA note. They've cut a target price by a bit, but it's still around a 70% upside, from the current market price. And we're seeing those up moves in the stock. It did open in red, but, it's recovered quite a bit, and it's up around 3% as we speak. SBI is another counter which is doing well. I mean, in these markets, SBI, a heavyweight like SBI is up by around 3% again. So all of these counters are the counters which are actually doing well in terms of, the contribution as well.
Yeah, and you know what? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
did you have more?
Yeah, sure.
No, but I'm saying at the start, our watch list, we actually pointed out quite a few stocks that had positive developments that were in the red,
right,
but they've recovered quite smartly from the low point. In fact, pull up something like a Time Technoplast, where there is an update in terms of a new product that is launched in the polyethylene pipe space. The stock has recovered as much as 4.7% from the low point of the day to trade with gains of about 3%. The oil marketing companies, we were talking about this at the start, and crude oil prices at $70 or thereabouts, or $71 thereabouts for Brent crude, and the expectation that gross refining margins are going to improve for these oil marketing companies. HPCL trading with gains of about 3% or so. Let's pull up IOC and BPCL as well, because those stocks have gained quite considerably from the low point of the day. 2.5% for IOC right now and 1.3% or thereabouts for BPCL. Maybe the worst is over. Azad Engineering, there was a QIP where the fund raise was to the extent of 700 crore rupees. This is a stock that is gaining about 3% or so. Godrej Properties, there's promoter buying that has taken place. The stock is gaining about 2%. And the real estate pack, by the way, has gotten beaten down quite considerably. So it's a good move up. And Canfin Homes, Morgan Stanley has a 52% upside as of yesterday's close on this counter. It was down in trade at the start, but it's up about 1%. So these are some of the stocks that I was looking at.
Absolutely. Even Ask Automotive is something that's doing well in trade today. But some counters, worth flagging off, which are not doing well also. So Ask Automotive is locked in upper circuit. Paytm is one such counter. Sudarshan Chemical is one such counter, which is not doing well. There are counters like Inox Green, Inox Wind, Intellect Design. All of these counters are down by about 2%. Inox Green has recovered quite bit. It's up by 6%. But Intellect Design down. Glenmark Pharmaceuticals, Suntech Realty, all of these counters, on the back of news flow post-market hours yesterday, are in focus. But with that, let's also welcome in our guest for the day, Asa Jain, Senior Research Analyst at HEM Securities, and Swati Hotkar, AVP Technical Research Analyst at Nirmal Bang, is joining us now. The first query for the day is on the counter of Cochin Shipyard. Rajendra Kumar has bought 113 odd shares at 2,755 a piece, and he's saying that he's incurring a loss of around 1.7 lakh odd rupees. He wants to know whether he should hold or book loss or switch to something else, and he's also given options that he wants to either switch to Reliance or Infosys. Now, all of these three counters are in different sectors. Asa, I'll come to you. Cochin Shipyard, what's the outlook like, and should he exit at the current levels and switch to something like a Reliance or Infosys?
Talking about this counter, I think Cochin Shipyard is a better stock rather than going anywhere else, because the results that have come out were also very decent. They have a good order visibility, and in fact, what I believe that going ahead, their financial performance will definitely going to show improvement. So on all these bases, I think there is no need to exit from this counter as of now. This counter can show more upside from here, and that are the better opportunities to make exit rather than now. So your idea is to stay invested in this counter.
Okay, hold is a view from Asta. Asta, good morning, and Swati, good morning to you as well. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Kushal is calling us from Bengaluru, I believe. Kushal, good morning to you, and how can we help you today?
Yeah, very good morning, sir. So, basically, I'm planning to purchase Genus Power.
Okay.
So, which is completely into smart meter production. Mm-hmm. So, I have been following up with the company since 1 year, reading with all the con calls. So, they are very confident in achieving whatever the targets they have set. So, is it the right time to enter into the stock or with this PE? This is my query, sir. Okay.
And so you've not bought yet. You've identified this for the long term, right? And you are planning to hold for a year plus? What is the time frame?
No. Actually, I'm planning to hold up to 5 years, because they have a revenue potential up to 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
So, I'm planning to lump sum investment as of now into the stock.
Okay, got it. All right, Kushal, and I'm glad that you've done your research. The stock is up and about in trade today, 3.5% or so. Asta, I'm coming back to you on the fundamentals. This is a 7,850 crore market capitalization company involved, as Kushal has pointed out, in smart metering and metering solutions. Would you buy into this, or is there another play that is better in the smart meter space?
So I think this is a very good counter to make a fresh investments. Also, the only problem was with the downside, which we have seen in the market conditions. And that is the major concern. That's why we have seen this stock is also not performing. Now, idea behind this stock to be a good investment option is that, first of all, their results were exceptionally well. And definitely, I would like to congratulate the investor that definitely he has done a very good research, because even when I have gone through their con call, in every con call they have mentioned that they are getting very, very strong demand and it is visible through their order book also, because they have got a very strong order book. And in fact, the results which they have posted in the Q3 of FY25, it is like a turnaround result, because in the last year's same quarter, if I take out all the other exceptional items, etc., it was a negative performance on the bottom line front. So from negative to positive, a very strong set of number which this company has posted in this quarter. Yes, I think this is a counter where one can make fresh entry. The only problem is that don't put all your money into it. Just make a staggered buying, maybe 30% as of now, 30% or 40% later on, and remaining 30% again later on. So in that way, in a staggered buying way, one can make entry into this counter, but definitely this counter is poised for a good upside momentum from here. So one can make a fresh entry into this counter.
All right, one can make a fresh entry in Genus Power, but in a staggered manner is the view coming in from Astha. The next counter that we are talking about is Siemens India. John from Puducherry is asking this question, and he wants a technical view on this one. Swati, I'll come to you. Yesterday, Jefferies had an interesting note with an upside of almost 56% on the counter, and they said that this is a good company, in the power transmission play, and also will benefit from higher capex spending as well. Do you also, kind of agree with the 56% upside in the next 6 to 12 odd months?
Yes, first of all, good morning, all of you, all the panelists. Definitely, the view is positive at the current level. Whatever rally we have seen by the end of the 2023, from almost 4,000 to 8,000, now the stock has already retraced its 50% of that particular rally. And also the interesting fact that it is just trading in the oversold zone, and I believe that its momentum indicators such as the RSI is likely to witness some sort of a positive crossover from the oversold zone. So the bottom is like we are making a bottom at around nearby 45, 44 levels, and from there onwards we are likely to witnessing some bounce back rally towards to 6,000 to 6,500. So at the current level, definitely one should invest at least 20-30% at the current market price. I believe in a short period of time 6,000 levels can be achieved, and beyond that 6,500 levels can be seen. So it's one of the strong counter one can do for investments.
Buy is the view coming in on Siemens with respect to the technicals, and that's the view coming in from Swati. Sanjay from Mumbai is calling us. Sanjay, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Good morning. I want to know about Abbott India Limited. I have bought 51 shares, about 28,100.
Okay.
And I want to know the possible range to which it can go. Asta in the past had recommended his share at about 6,000 rupees just before Corona, and I had that time made a gain of 10,000 rupees per share on that script. Okay. And therefore I want to ask the question to Asta.
Okay.
And about the future of this.
Okay, Sanjay, just to understand, you bought it at 6,000 and then sold, and then you again entered at 28,100 levels.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
all right. Yes. Oh, got your query. Interesting one, Sanjay. Then it's interesting that you remember the call that Asta had given back then in COVID as well. Asta, so, he's followed your footsteps, and he's, taken your advice. That was back in COVID, of course, but now what do you think? Are these the right levels to keep holding Abbott India? He's sitting on a profit of around 1.7 odd lakh rupees. Should he book profits or continue to hold?
So first of all, thank you so much for following that advice. And it is really nice to watch that still, there are some counters which are yielding good results, because we have seen a strong capitulation in the market. And now talking about this counter, first of all, the reason why I was so positive about this counter, and right now also, is that 8 of their total 10 brands are the category leaders. And one important point about this counter is that none of their brand is holding the share of more than 24% or 25% in their portfolio. So there is no concentration risk in their portfolio about the product, and 8 of the brands are the category leader. Now the kind of results which this company has posted in Q3 of FY21 were exceptionally well and ahead of our expectations. So in fact, recent also, I have again given out buy call on this counter with a price target of 32,700 to 32,900. So idea here is to stay invested in this counter, But these market conditions are so volatile that I don't want that anyone should fetch any sort of negative return. So partial profit booking is recommended, partial or 1/4 of the position, but keep holding 3/4 of your position, because I think this stock can move till the level of 32,500 to 32,700.
It's had a tremendous run and what a gain since the start of February. Let's pull up the 1 month chart just to see what it has done. And it has gained quite considerably over the last 1 month, 20% or thereabouts. It's flown under the radar somewhat. I mean, we was having similar conversations about the Bajaj twins and Bajaj Finance having gained quite considerably. But Abbott India, certainly something to look at. And let's take a look at the, let's get in touch with the research team also to ask why they didn't spot this. I'm gonna talk to you after the show. But let's talk about State Bank of India and let's talk about Bank of Maharashtra. Two counters. Bank of Maharashtra maybe is something to sell, and that's something that Ekambara is wondering. He's bought at levels of 54 and he's wondering whether to get out of this counter and get into something like a State Bank of India, which is doing particularly well for itself in trade today. Swati, on the charts, what would you do with this?
Yeah, as of now, definitely we are likely to witness some good momentum into the banking stocks. I will not suggest to switch on the counters, but definitely SBI is really one of the strong counter at the current levels. One can put an extra investment into this particular stock, but into the Maha Bank also we have seen that the 42 is acting as a very strong support level, Alex. And in this fall, this particular counter has respected that support levels, which gives some sort of a relief sign. I believe that the upside momentums can be seen up to 50 to 52 levels on the higher sides. So definitely one should hold the long positions into the Maha Bank. And SBI, definitely one can take a long-term investment bet at the current market price as well, because it is an index-based stock. Definitely one of the very strong counter on the technical as well as on the fundamental side. I believe for a short-term period, targets the 780 to 820 levels can be seen in the near term. So the fresh positions can be also added into the SBI at the current market price.
All right. Fresh position is possible in State Bank of India. The stock is down about 16% over the last 3 months, but it's up and about in trade today, close to 3%. And remember, there is a target. I can't remember who. 850 is a target, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's Citi.
Citi has a target of 850 on State Bank of India. All right, let's go to the next caller. We've got Mahadev calling us from Bengaluru. And I believe, Mahadev, you want to know about Geo Financial Services. You bought at levels of 227, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell me what your thinking was? When did you buy this and how long do you intend to hold?
Just in 1 month time, I bought these all.
Okay, so you bought one. Okay, Mahadev, I want to point out that the line is not very clear, so maybe we'll try and dial you back, but I kind of got your question. You bought 500 shares at 227 and you want to know what the prospects are going forward. The stock is down about, it's down to 200 or thereabouts. No, it's down about 20 rupees or thereabouts from his buy price. Let's go across to Swati on the charts to see what the upside potential is. The stock has been under a tad bit of pressure for quite a while now. Has the bottom been hit and what is the upside potential from this point, Swati?
Alex, you rightly pointed out, if you look towards the last 3 months data, the stock was not doing very well, almost 30% down on quarter-on-quarter basis. But if you look towards the chart momentums, no wonder, according to the market scenario, all the stocks we have seen at a bitten down, and the majority of the stocks are trading in the oversold zones, trying to finding out the supports at the lower levels. This particular counter is finding out a support nearby 195 to 190 levels. An interesting fact that the momentum indicators such as RSI is just forming the positive divergence, which indicates that the momentum is likely to be seen on the positive side in the near term future, which might take a stocks towards 240 to 50 levels. So at the current level, one doesn't book the losses. Definitely one should hold on. As the market starts performing, this particular counter will also participate in the upside rally. So it should be a hold at the current momentum counters.
All right, so that's the view with respect to Geo Financial. The next counter that we're talking about is NMDC. Jay from Andhra Pradesh is holding 100 shares at an average price of 61. And he wants a long-term view on this particular counter. Astha, what's the view like and what are the prospects going ahead for this counter?
So here, as the view is long-term, definitely the view is positive. One can remain invested in this counter for the long term. Although what we have seen in the bottom line, there was a average jump of the 10% in the bottom line, which this company has posted. But again, I see the future prospects, and on those basis, I think this counter is well poised to go till the level of 70 from here. So better to stay invested in this counter.
All right, so that's the view with respect to NMDC. We have our next caller. Ram from Chennai is calling in. Ram, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Yeah, very good morning. So my query is regarding Tata Motors. I am holding 35 shares of Tata Motors.
Okay.
At the average price of 715 around it. So like the stock is corrected very huge now.
Right.
So can I accommodate more shares, or should I, what is the target price I should wait? So will it break 600 or 500 something? Just want to know whether I can add few more. My budget is around 50 to 60,000 rupees on Tata Motors.
Okay.
Is the right time? Yeah.
And you are seeing this from a longer term perspective, or is it the chance?
Longer term.
Okay.
Long term, 2-3 years. Yeah.
All right. Okay, 2-3 years. Asta, Tata Motors is the counter. Yesterday only we pulled out a data where we saw that Tata Motors is down by about 38% from the highs of 26,000 Nifty levels. And that's the steep correction that Tata Motors has seen. But 2 to 3 years is the time horizon that Ram is looking for. What's the view like?
So view is positive. First of all, what we have seen in their result, that ASP, that is average selling price, was declined in the JLR. So, and in fact, the company has reduced the JLR guidance also. But now, if I talk about their India's business, first of all, India's passenger vehicle business, the outlook is positive. In fact, in the India CV vehicle segment also, the outlook is positive. So I think on these basis, definitely this company can show some good financial performance going ahead. So idea here is to stay invested in this counter. Maybe it will take some more time to show some sort of improvement in the stock prices. But I think over the period of a time, it will yield strong results. So idea here is to hold the counter with the initial price target, which I'm setting for this counter is 700 to 710.
Okay, 700 to 710 is the initial target. Tata Motors underperforming, and of course the auto pack as a whole not doing particularly well at this juncture. It was under pressure yesterday as well. Let's talk about Adani Power, and this is a question from Patel, who's writing in from Ahmedabad, and he's bought at levels of 526. He's wondering what the short-term and long-term prospects are, and since he's not specified what exactly his time horizon is, let me go across to you, Swati, on the charts. What's your opinion, and what should he do? What are the key levels to watch?
See, Alex, my view at the current level is being cautious because from continuously last 1 year, the stock is not really doing very well. It's trading in the formations of the lower top, lower bottom formations. And I believe that the stock will try to find out a support nearby 440 to 430 levels. Up to that level, we might witness more selling pressure into this particular stocks. The view will convert into the positive sides only if the stock manages to give the breakout of a 540 levels, which is acting as a very cluster resistance zone from the last few months as well. So unless and until it stays below 530, 540 levels, my view will remain cautious, not to average it out at the current level. Let the stocks find out the support nearby 440 to 430 levels. And once again, you can take a review of this particular counters. And as of now, I will suggest to hold on this particular stock.
All right. Adani Power is what we just discussed. It's part of the Adani Group. NDTV Profit is part of the NDTV Group, which is owned by the Adani AMG Media Networks, which is part of the Adani Group. Let's get Shivam on the phone line. Shivam is calling us from Jamnagar in Gujarat. Shivam, good morning to you, and how can we help you today?
Yeah, good morning. I want to know about the ITC. Is the right time to buy?
Okay. And what is the time horizon that you have, Shivam? Why do you like the stock?
Yeah, ITC Hotel is the best hotel company. We operate in all the level, entry level, mid premium, premium luxury.
Right. Okay, so you're buying based on the fundamentals, right?
Yeah, fundamentals and brand value, ITC.
So I'm sure that you've studied it, Shivam. So you don't like IHCL, Indian Hotels?
IHCL is good, but ITC, I think valuation is much good than IHCL.
Okay, that's a good point that you're making, and I'm glad that you've studied the company so closely, Shivam. Let me go across to Asta on the fundamentals and on the valuation picture that you've just spoken about. ITC Hotels, is it a good buy based on valuations and based on fundamentals? And we've spoken about this in quite a lot of detail in the recent past. The trajectory on room addition is quite strong heading into 2027, 2030 as well.
Yes, and in fact, they are scaling up of their recent green fields also. So that is what you are talking. And this is, I think, number two ranking. This hotel owns number two ranking in the hotel space. And I think this counter is really well set because their management is really very strong. In fact, I have my own personal experience at the hotel. So I think this counter is a good counter to stay invested on. And one can continue their holding in this counter. And our price target for this counter at the initial level is 175.
All right, so that's the view with respect to ITC Hotels, and hold is the view coming in from Astha. The next counter that we're talking about is JK Paper. Shivani from Mumbai has purchased at the price of 483, and she's incurring a loss of around 77,000 odd rupees. She would like to know the fundamentals of the company, and is there a scope of improvement is what she's asking. Astha, do you have a view with respect to JK Paper?
Yes, if I talk about the fundamentals of this counter, fundamentals are not looking very strong because the kind of results this company has posted, there was simply and clearly a degrowth of more than 30% in their bottom line. So right now, fundamentals are not in a very good shape. It's better to let the stock fall more and then make entry into this counter if anyone wants to make a fresh entry, or one can do entry after the result declaration for Q4 of FY25. But right now, I am not advising to enter into this counter purely on the basis of fundamental because financial performance was not up to the mark in Q3 FY25.
All right, so JK Paper is an avoid based on the fundamentals. We've got more stocks that we'll talk about, but we have to slip into a very quick break. Astha, Swati, do stay with us, and we'll see you on the other side of this very quick commercial break.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the trading also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers, and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial.
you're watching Ask Profit, a show that gets all your stock-related queries answered, whether they're fundamental or technical. For viewers who are just tuning in, you can either call us or WhatsApp us on the number that's flashing on your screens right now. We have our next caller lined up. Upendra from Bengaluru is calling us. Upendra, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Hi ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
I call you regarding this Tanla platforms.
Okay.
I had bought 400 shares at 750.
Okay.
Currently it's running 430 plus.
Right. So you want a long-term query? Are you a long-term investor? And have you
Yes,
seen the
ma'am,
fundamentals of the company while investing?
Yes.
Okay. As I'll come to you, Tanla Platforms is the counter. What's the view like?
So it is the largest communication platform, I suppose, and there are 90% of the businesses coming from the enterprise segment, while 10% from the platform segment. Now, talking about the fundamentals and the financial performance of this counter, it was not up to the mark. The company faced the challenges in their margins as well in the Q3 of FY25. And in fact, their international messaging business is not performing strongly for them. So on those bases, the results were not good. The only, I think, comfort right now is regarding the valuation because the stock has seen a sharp decline. So in that way, the valuations are now in the favor because it has already seen sharp correction. So my idea here is to stay invested in this counter, but financial performance need to show the improvement for getting a boost for upside from here. But right now, one can stay invested in this counter. Initial price target can be set at around 470 to 475 odd levels.
Oh, okay. We've got an interesting company, and Asta, I'm going to request you to pull it up if you can. This is Manorama Industries, and it is a 5,000 crore company. It is involved or engaged in the manufacture of specialty fats and butter made from exotic seeds and nuts. It says it is a producer of mango-based cocoa butter equivalent, which is interesting, right? Or shea-based CBE and mango, sal and shea-based specialty fats. All very interesting. Not a mainstream company to say the very least, but an interesting company because this is something that Santosh from Chennai has highlighted. He's bought 15 shares at a price of 1,093. The stock is up 9% today, or close to 10% today. Is this something that you've looked at in the past, and what would you say about it?
So I think this company has performed very strong results in the Q3 of FY25, and the reason behind it was that they have got a very strong demand for their products. And now I think it was more than very strong percentage of jump which they have shown in the top line and bottom line. In fact, now this company is looking for capex also, as far as I remember, and they are going for forward integration and backward both sort of integration. So I think these all are the major pointers towards this company. My idea here is to stay invested in this counter because it has shown very strong financial performance and management is quite optimistic about the outlook of company. So hold this counter. At least I think one can get break even at around 1,000 or 1,050 odd levels.
Strong move in the counter trade today. And fundamentals are looking strong as well. So kudos to you for having picked up this small cap and for having looked at the data. I'm sure you've studied it as well. Dheeraj from Hyderabad is calling us. Hi Dheeraj, morning. How can we help you today?
Hi sir, good morning. My query is regarding Ganesha Ecosphere.
Okay.
I'm holding 100 shares of Ganesha Ecosphere at 198 rupees.
Okay.
So at current level, should I add more or should I sell is my query.
Okay, what is the time horizon that you have in mind, Dheeraj? Is it long term or short term in nature?
Short term, sir.
Okay, and when you define short term, is it a few months, less than a...
Few weeks.
Few weeks.
Like yesterday,
okay.
I bought the stock yesterday actually.
Okay, you bought it yesterday. How much data do we have? Do we have enough data? Okay, so yeah, all right. So I'll come to you, Swati, on the charts. It's down about 30% over the last 6 months, but it's up about 4% in trade today. And quite a few of these names, smaller names from the broader markets, are doing quite well in trade today. What are the key levels to watch out for on the upside?
Alex, we have already seen a very strong sell-off in this particular counter from the month of the last year, October, November, from 2,450 to now 1,250 levels. So I believe that the stock has really found out a support nearby 1200 and 1220 levels and showing some turnaround. Interesting fact that the positive diversion is witnessing on the daily chart. So I believe that it has a strong potential to reach up to at least for a short-term period, say for a week, for a few weeks, 1500 is the likely target, the resistance provided by its 20 days moving average. So up to that level, we are likely to witness some positive momentum, and beyond that levels, once it manages to give the positive closing above 1500 all levels, the rally is likely to be extended towards to 1750 to 1800 levels. So view is definitely positive. If you are interested to add on the more positions, you can go for it. Downside, it has a very good support formation at around 1240 to 1220 levels. So by keeping that stop loss, you can definitely create a long positions.
Right, so buy is the view coming in on Ganesha Ecosphere. The next counter is GSK Pharma. Rajesh from Mumbai wants to buy 50 shares of GSK Pharma at 2,600. So he's also given the price at which he wants to enter. But he wants to know whether making entry at this price makes sense or not. And he's not mentioned whether he wants a shorter term view or a longer term view. But Astha, I'll come to you. GSK Pharma, what are the fundamentals saying?
Fundamentals were quite okayish because they have posted a 7% growth in their bottom line. But the price where to enter, I think technical analyst is in a better position just on the basis of chart. But my view here is that one can make entry into this counter at a lower price level. And right now it is quoting at around 26.24. So I think at the lower price level of around 25.50 or 25.80 are the better levels to make entry into this counter.
All right, so that's the view with respect to GSK Pharma. Vishnu Prasad is our next caller. He's calling in from Kerala. Vishnu, a very good morning to you. I believe you have a query on Adani Ports.
Yes. Yes, good morning. So I am currently having 100 shares with me. So since today morning I was thinking about adding 400 or 500 shares more.
Okay.
So what's your take on that? Yeah.
All right, and you are a long-term investor in Adani Ports?
Yes, yes.
All right. Astha, Adani Ports is the counter. He's already holding 100 shares and he wants to invest into another 400 to 500 odd shares. Is this the right levels to enter in?
So it is like, one of the largest port operator in the private space in India. Now, if I talk about the prospects and fundamental prospects of this counter, it seems to be good because the growth prospects are really good. I think that. And on that basis, yes, one can make an entry into this counter at the lower price level of around 990 to 980 odd levels. And those who have this counter in their portfolio, they can remain invested with an initial price target of 1,090 to 1,095.
Okay. All right. Stock is up about 0.5% or so, and it's a hold. By the way, we just spoke about Adani Ports. It is part of the Adani Group, and so is NDTV Profit, which is part of the NDTV Group. Let's talk about Excel Industries, and we've got a question from DJ Kandan, who wants to get in at the current level. So Swati, the question is, does the current price look attractive to you?
Yeah, as of now, I will not suggest to take a long position in this particular counter, Alex, because we are likely to witness more selling pressure in this particular stocks, which might take a counters towards at least 800 and 780 levels. So that levels will act as a crucial support levels, and the risk reward ratio will be a favorable. So if you're looking any dips towards to 800 or 780 levels, then you can think about it, but not at the current market price.
Okay, all right. We've got our next caller. Venkat is calling us from Andhra Pradesh. Hi, Venkat. Good morning to you. How can we help you?
Alex, I have Yatharth Hospital shares.
Okay, Yatharth Hospital, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you like to know?
I have 100 shares.
Okay.
I have bought at 562 real price.
Okay.
Now it is almost 360.
Yes.
It has been corrected 35%.
Yeah.
And I have a long-term view of 2 years.
Okay.
So should I continue to hold, or I can add some more?
You can add some more. Okay. I got your question. Is this the only healthcare company that you have, or do you own some more companies in the healthcare space?
No, only this hospital.
Only Yatharth Hospital. Okay,
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
All right. So Astha, on the fundamentals then, because this is another stock that is from the broader markets that has seen a substantial erosion in value. Would you buy more at the current level?
So this counter is posted at good numbers, but I think there was some news related to the corporate governance, something like that. And that was a major reason that we have seen a good correction in the stock prices. But if I talk about the financial performance, it was good because their average revenue per occupied bed was on a good side. And in fact, they have raised funds through the QIP also, which they were intending to deploy towards the capacity expansion in the form of more bed addition. So I think all in all, and after that, even the management has made certain clarifications regarding the governance issues. So this stock can perform strongly on the long-term prospects basis until or unless some negative news should not come. Otherwise, I would think there is no harm in remain invested in this counter. So one can remain invested in this counter, and the price target at the initial level, which we want to give, is around 410 to 415 odd levels.
All right, so that's the view coming in on Yatharth Hospital. The next query is from Kiran Tejwani, who's from Karnataka. So, this is actually a broader end question. She's asking if this is the right time to invest in the market, and if yes, please suggest good stocks for long-term investing. And her time horizon is 5 years. Astha, if you can name 3 counters for her from a longer-term perspective, and if those counters are attractive at the current levels in the market right now.
So as I was indicating earlier also, that staggered buying is always a good option in this kind of market conditions, because none of us know where the market bottoms out. So right now, because I think if 22,000, which is a crucial level for the Nifty, if it breaks that level, then definitely it can move till the level of 21,800 also. So right now, staggered buying is always a beneficial, rather than going with any other manner. And here, 2-3 stocks which looks good from the long-term perspective is, first of all, in this steel space, Tata Steel. I think Tata Steel has a room to move more upside from here. So this is the counter which I'm betting on right now, with a price target at the initial level, not a big price target I'm giving, but it is only around 155 to 160, which I'm attributing to this counter. Definitely in the banking space, ICICI Bank, it is like a no-brainer sort of stock recommendation. So one can invest in that counter as well, because banking sectors are again looking positive. So there, and again in the capital goods space, L&T is all-time favorite. So these are some counters which we are really positive on at this moment of time.
All right, so these are the counters that Astha has given from a longer term perspective. Avi from Kolkata is our next caller. He's calling in. And Avi, a very good morning to you. I believe you have a query on PVR Inox.
Yes, that's right. Good morning to the NDTV family.
Good morning.
Yes, I've got PVR at, I bought it today, like 9320 quantity at 926.17.
Okay.
So I was thinking, what could be the price target, let's say within a year?
Within a year, okay. And have you seen the fundamentals of the company, or did you see the charts and enter the counter?
Honestly, actually, I just saw the chart. I just thought it has come pretty down from,
Understood.
I think 2000 or 1800 levels. So I just thought because today morning actually I was holding HUL and one more stock.
Right.
So I booked a loss of 20 lakhs, and I just thought probably it's time to start fresh. So I just thought of entering this counter. Yes.
All right. Booked a loss of 20 lakhs. That's quite significant. Is that what you mentioned, Avi? 20 lakhs?
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
All right. So I believe that would be a part of your portfolio then.
Of course.
Yes.
All right.
Actually, I was holding 2 stocks, so I exited and I just bought everything. I put in a PVR as of now. Yes.
Okay. All right. Swati, PVR Inox is the counter. He's just entered today. What are the charts looking like for the next 1 year? And as he rightly mentioned, they've come off, the stock has come off quite a bit.
Yes, it's correctly pointed out that on the price basis, if you compare the previous formations, it's highly bitten down counters. But on a larger degree, my view is a little bit cautious itself. More downfall can be seen into these particular counters nearby 850 to 840 levels up to that levels. But today, the market is doing really well. That's why we are witnessing some positive momentum or say the pullback rally. And this pullback rally can be continued towards to 980 to 1000 levels, but it might be a short-lived. So if you are looking for a trading perspective, try to book your profits on every rise towards to 980 to 1000 levels. Downside, you can keep a strong support of 880 levels. As long as it stays above that level, this positive momentum is likely to be carried forward towards the mentioned support levels. But for a longer term durations, might be a little bit cautious not to create major long positions at the current market price.
Right. All right, so that's the view with respect to PVR Inox. The next counter is IGI, that is International Gemological Institute. Vijay Sharma from Bengaluru is asking about this counter. He's saying that the share has touched bottom line in the past 2 days and he wants to know if this is the right time to invest. He already is holding 90 shares at an average price of 355. Asta, they announced their earnings, day before yesterday post market hours, and as per my analysis, there were a couple of reasons as to why the stock has fallen so much. First one being that the revenue growth was just 6%, versus the jewelry companies which have definitely clocked a double-digit growth in this festive season. And in the con call, they also mentioned that their share of lab-grown diamonds has overall gone up. Plus, their trade receivables have gone up significantly, and cash flows have also turned negative. So this is my reading, but what's your reading with respect to the results? And from a longer-term perspective, is this a good counter to enter at the current levels?
I don't think so, because I think IPO came in December, if I remember correctly, and it was at the issue price of around 417. So from that, we have seen a sharp fall. Although they provide certification, they are one of the global leaders, and the kind of work which they are into, they have no close competition. But idea here is that how much growth we can see in certain type of or such type of business. So that is the major concern. And apart from that, you have rightly said the financial performance was not up to the mark. So, and we have seen the stock has shown a very, sharp downside momentum. So there is no need to make entry into this counter, because even I am not very much positive on the growth outlook going ahead. And idea here is to just try to exit from this counter at any upper level, but don't make entry into this counter, and exit is a strategy which I would like to recommend for this counter.
The call on IGI. I must confess, I didn't really see a reason for the stock to get beaten down as much, but the way that Asta is looking at it, perhaps it does warrant the kind of downside that it's seeing. Trent is the name of the counter that we're talking. Actually, let's go to our caller. Suresh is calling us from Hyderabad. Hi Suresh, how can we help you?
Hi, I'm holding Steel Leather of India at 110.
Okay.
But from past couple of days, I'm seeing some recovery. So in this recovery, can I expect? I'm holding around 1,000 shares.
Okay.
Can I add 1,000 more to target for around 130 to 150 in a time within 3 to 6 months?
Okay. Since you have a short-term time horizon, let me go across to Swati on this one. Swati, he's bought at levels of 110, not too far away from the current market price. What are the upside potential for the next 2 to 3 months, or maybe even a little more than that?
Yeah, Alex, the view is definitely positive because the counter is forming a very cluster supports nearby 198 levels. And from there onwards, from the last 2 months, we have seen a very strong consolidation phase within the range of 100 to 110. 110 is the breakout level if it manages to give the breakout of level stat level. 130 is the likely target for the coming 1 to 2 months or 3 months in period of time we can witness stat levels. So definitely one should hold on the long positions. Downside, you can keep a stop loss of 98 rupees. I'm looking for a target of 130 levels in the few months as such.
All right, so that's the view with respect to sale. The next counter that we're talking about is Trent. Pradeep has bought at levels of 5,100 and he's bought 100 odd shares. He wants to know whether he can continue to hold or buy more at the current levels. Asta, what's the view like for Trent?
So I think view is to hold this counter rather than making exit or making entry also. So I would not suggest any of these two. Just remain invested in this counter because results were okay, but I think markets were expecting more or a stronger set of a number, and there were certain concerns which the market were having at the time of the result outcome, and that is why we have seen the stock has not performed well. So better to wait for the more clarity to come on the financial performance side. So hold is a strategy which I would like to recommend rather than making entry or exit in this junction.
Another question, this one's from the financial space and specifically on the microfinance space. And I know that we've spoken about this space quite in a quite detailed manner over the course of the last few months. It's a space that is under a tad bit of pressure, but let's pull up Credit Access Grameen from this space. And this is a counter that saw considerable selling pressure, because frankly the fundamentals were looking a little bleak. We've got Ramya from Chennai who's bought 52 shares at a price of 1494, and from that level the stock is down quite considerably at 919 or thereabouts now. So Asta, on the fundamentals, quite a bit has been said in the investor presentation as well. All of the targets that were set at the start of the financial year have been revised multiple times downwards, and the asset quality is also not looking particularly great. What would you do with this if you've got a very long-term time horizon and she's got a horizon of 5 years, so she's wondering what to do, she doesn't want to sell at a loss? Would you recommend holding on?
Yes, one can hold on this counter because here the time horizon is 5 years. So just looking after that time horizon, and our viewer or an investor does not want to book losses, the idea here is to stay invested. Now we should understand why the stock is not performing good. Because first of all, it is a third consecutive quarter that we have seen the contraction in their loan book. In fact, their financial performance was not up to the mark because of the elevated credit cost also. And the kind of headwind which this credit financing sector is witnessing, I think that is also playing spoil sport at this point of a time. So all these factors are pointing that maybe this stock can go more downside from here. But just because the time horizon is 5 years, idea here is to stay invested. But this is a recommendation purely to the investor who has raised this query and not in a general, because I don't think that this stock can perform well in the coming quarter as well.
We've got a next caller, and Arjun is calling us from Bengaluru. Arjun, I want to know if I'm reading this correct. You've got 14,278 shares of Suzlon, is that right?
Yes, sir. I'm having 14,220.
Okay, so you've got quite the conviction on this stock. Tell me what you want to know.
So my average price is 52 rupees.
Yes.
And I would like to know, I mean, even for a short, long term, probably 6 months, is it okay to hold, or should I sell it once I get one any good price?
Okay, so you've got a short-term view on the stock. Have you by any chance studied the fundamentals?
No, sir, I haven't.
Oh, so you're looking at the price activity. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, in case you're interested, we did speak with the management earlier today, and that should be available on our YouTube page as well. But since you have a short-term question, and 6 months is your time horizon, right?
Correct, sir.
Okay. So Swati, I'll come to you on this one. Bought at levels of 52, which is very close to the current market price. It's quite considerably off its 52-week high, which is close to that 80 rupee mark. What is the potential over the next 6 months?
Yeah, Alex, the buying price is quite attractive at the current levels because the depth is very limited. We have seen that if you look towards past history, the counter is forming a very strong formation within the range of a 45 to 46 levels. So that is acting as a very strong cluster supports levels. Upside, this momentum is likely to be chased up to 60 to 65 levels. So my view is positive since the risk-reward ratio is very favorable at the current market price. You can hold on your long positions by maintaining a strict stop loss of a 46 levels on the downside. For immediate target of first will be a 60, and beyond that level 65 levels can be seen. So it's a hold from my end.
All right, so that's the view with respect to Suzlon. The next counter is Shipping Corporation of India. Sunita Rai from Bengaluru is holding 500 odd shares bought at the levels of 80 rupees. So she's sitting on a profit of around 33,000 odd rupees. She wants a longer term view on this. Astha, what's the view like for Shipping Corporation of India?
So longer term view is positive, and I would recommend to hold this counter just because what we have seen that in the latest results, that is Q2 FY25, the results were not up to the mark, and that is the major reason we have seen this stock is not performing well on the bourses. But in the longer term, we are quite positive on this industry also and the kind of work they are into. Definitely a hold is recommended for this counter from the longer term perspective.
Swati, quick view on some of these capital market plays, specifically BSE and CDSL. BSE in particular getting beaten down the recent past, but it's up about 3% in trade today, bouncing back. Chandan Jain wants to know whether to buy into either one of these, BSE or CDSL.
See, if you look on the price momentum as such, we have seen a very sharp decline in the CDSL, this particular counter, because it's already bitten down counters. Compared to if we do the comparative analysis between the BSE or the CDSL on the technical spurt, I believe CDSL looks good on the technical front as of now, because we have seen a price correction and it has forming a bottom out nearby 1050 level. So we are likely to witness a sharp uptick or say the bounce back rally for a short term period of time, which might take a counter towards to 1300 odd level. So at the current market price, one should create a long position or one can hold on also. For the BSE, I believe that more selling pressures can be seen in the coming few trading sessions, and the stock is likely to find out a bottom nearby the 4000 or 3800 level. That level, if it's come down, then we can see some sort of a support formations, but not at the current price momentum. So I'm positive on the CDSL compared to the BSE.
So comprehensive view on both of those based on the charts. It's time to hit the rapid fire segment. Asta, Swati, you know what this means. We'll throw as many questions at you over the course of 2 minutes. Do keep your answers as brief as possible. The first one's on Canara Bank, and this is Aman's question. He's bought at levels of 85.24, 600 quantity. Should he hold or buy more? Swati?
Yeah, you should hold. Upside target I'm looking for 90. Stop loss can be kept at 80 levels.
All right, Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank is the next counter. Regan Rajan from Madurai is asking this question: should he hold or exit? What's the view like, Asta?
I would recommend to hold on this counter with a price target of somewhere at around 425 to 450.
Okay, that was Rangarajan's question. IRCTC is the name of the counter. Abhishek wants to know 1000 bought at levels of 700 for the short term. Swati?
Yes, you can hold on. This particular counter downside support is placed at 650. The bounce back rally can be continued towards to 720. So it's hold from my end.
All right, PTC Industries is the next counter. 2000 shares have been bought by John at 175 piece. What's the view like, Asta, from a longer term?
Longer term is looking positive. Remain invested in this.
Okay, Indian Hotels bought at levels of 725. Gul wants to know whether you would add more at the current level. Swati?
Yes, you can add on every dips towards to 700 price, not at the current price. Positive momentum can be carried forward towards to 780. So view is positive.
All right. Muralidhar from Hyderabad has bought 200 shares of Rate Gain at 742 a piece. His holding period is 9 to 12 months. What's the view like with respect to charts, Swati?
The Rate Gain, yes, definitely view is positive. Downside, it has a cluster support at around 470. Upside rally can be extended towards to 600. So you can hold on the long position.
Asta, Marine Electricals, any view on this one? We've got Vinay who's bought at levels of 250.
No, I don't track this counter. Sorry,
okay. No problem, no problem. BPCL, what about this one? It's up and about in trade today. 289 is the buy price. Vikas Thorat wants to know hold or exit. Swati?
You can hold on this particular counter because upside rally can be extended up to the 260. So every rise towards 260, one can book their profits or exit the long position. But at the current market price, you should hold on.
Hold is the call on BPCL. All right, Asta, Swati, on that note, thanks so much for joining in, for answering all the questions that you did. Always a pleasure having you on the program. All right, and that brings us to the end of this edition of Ask Profit. Thanks so much for joining in from Mahima and myself and the team that put this show together. Thank you so much for watching. Do stay tuned. This is NDTV Profit.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breathing also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Reviksit Bharat.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breading also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure from where
Hello and welcome. This is KYC, a show designed to give regular investors powerful, actionable insights into the fundamentals of a single NSE listed company every single day. Well, the summer months are upon us. They will be, of course, in certain next few weeks, notwithstanding the heat wave that many regions in India are already facing. Well, we are taking up a company which addresses exactly that, Symphony. This company, as we all know, is one that focuses on coolers specifically. And of course, not only does it manufacture, but also trades and markets air coolers across India and certain other regions in the world as well. Well, it does have a presence in the domestic markets where it is, of course, the largest player here as far as air coolers are concerned, but also has a considerable presence in international markets. As far as its presence is concerned, it is considered to be one of the largest air cooler manufacturers, in fact, in the world. And it doesn't just look at residential, but also looks at commercial and industrial coolers too. So that gives the company that much of an optionality and an advantage as well. Well, notwithstanding that, there have been times of late where there's been a little bit of volatility with respect to earnings from the company. But if you disregard that, there certainly has been a dominance as far as its presence in the coolers space is concerned. While there are a lot of other companies, there are a lot of other listed companies who also deal in coolers, it does seem like that at the moment that Symphony has taken it upon itself to focus only and essentially on the cooler segment. So that is something which stands out for Symphony. But, I'm going to shift focus to all that we're going to talk about with respect to Symphony. So as usual, what we tend to do is that we talk to you about the company's fundamentals. So we start by taking a look at the income statement. We take a look at the balance sheet and how things are panning out.